right, welcome to the Prime Digital Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Scott. We have a very special guest today, Dan Costello from Evolution Mortgage. How's it going today, Dan?
Everything's fantastic, Kev. How are you, sir?
Doing well, doing well. Thanks for joining us today. I think a lot of people are going to get some good tips and insight out of this. And, for you, those of you that don't know, Dan is a local mortgage broker. He's also a CPA, so he's really here to help with all of your financial needs. So we'll get to know a little bit more about Dan and Evolution Mortgage on today's podcast. So let's jump right in, Dan. So I guess to start, give us a little background about yourself and, how you got started.
Sure, yeah. So, just like any other college kid, kind of went off to school and didn't know what I wanted to do. Major in psychology. I thought I wanted to be a guidance counselor or a shrink. Quickly sidestepped that, and I just, took up accounting as a degree. Kept running with it. I knew accounting was, opens up a lot of avenues. So went off, took my CPAs, passed them all, and then hooked up with my boss, who came from actually one of my best friends. He was like an uncle to him, and really successful guy, really, really smart guy, probably the smartest guy I've ever met in my life. And got into the accounting game for a little bit, and he had a mortgage business all throughout the late 90s and early 2000s, and kind of just saw the way I was able to speak to people and handle myself. And, before you knew it, I had my mortgage license, and here I am 7 years later. Life is good. I absolutely love the business. I love numbers, and still do a little bit of the accounting also, but we're running a really lean firm here at Evolution Mortgage, and life is good, man. I absolutely love what I do, and business is good, and listen, it's been a good ride.
That's great to hear, Dan. Well, give us a little background about Evolution Mortgage. What do you like most about working for the company? I know you've done a bunch of different things in the past, so give us a little insights, about Evolution.
Sure. So, we're a really small company. We're super lean. And again, it's kind of my boss and myself who run the show. So everything flows through us. We got another 2 loan officers and a processor, to help us on the back end. But everyone's really smart. Everyone's financially savvy. We're all CPAs. So,
nice.
It's just a good vibe around where we're at, right? Everyone's do the right thing. Everyone's positive people. At this point, we're all pretty much best friends, which, I don't think anyone can really say about the company they work for, their boss.
Sure.
It's just a really, really cool situation to be involved with people that you genuinely like, that are genuinely smart, that know how to work hard. And listen, we set goals, and we all set a good example for each other. And it's just awesome, man. I love being part of a small company, and listen, it's something where I can kind of do what I got to do as long as I get my stuff done. And you're commission based, so your income is in your own destiny and in your own hands.
Yeah, it's a good point. And again, I think it probably makes you try to work a little bit harder. And again, being able to go out there and help other people that have questions or different issues. I know the mortgage industry in general, a lot of people have questions, so it's nice to be able to go out there and be able to serve them, as well as, do a good living for yourself as well. So that's good to hear, Dan. Now, in terms of, questions, I know, this is a lot of viewers here, a lot of listeners here. They probably, when they hear the word mortgage come up, a lot of you might get a little scared here. And, there's obviously a lot of questions that people have. Any tips or anything that you can kind of say, or maybe any common things that, common questions that people come to you that you can kind of, I guess, give us a little insight on and, helpful value to the, listeners here?
Yeah, sure. I mean, listen, it's probably something that I recommend to everybody when they start going through the mortgage process. It's to watch the movie, The Big Short. It's an awesome movie, yep. But it kind of illustrates why mortgage brokers and loan officers and banks got such a bad name during the 2008 financial crisis. I mean, just serious irresponsible lending. People just taking advantage of people, which is a touchy subject, which is finances.
Sure.
It's just a subject that everybody wants to run away from, right? The amount of times that we start the process and you have, young couples who are married for 2, 3 years, have kids, and they each have no idea what their financial lives look like.
Yeah.
It's crazy, and listen, I understand it. But it's a language that I speak, so it is a little far-fetched to me that people don't really have the conversation of money and really go into it, especially with a lot of times with their significant others. So I mean, it's one of these things where, yeah, you just got to be open and honest, and try to understand the language of money. It's probably the most important language that nobody wants to learn, but it's kind of what I do best is I break things down in layman's terms. My famous line is, I'm going to draw it out for you in crayon, and help
Yep.
people understand
Nice.
what this whole process is, and understand, how a mortgage not only impacts you, but your whole financial life, and going forward, and how that should leak into how you're investing in retirement, where you're spending your money, um, and all these little things that are going to shape, what your monthly budget is, and how you're going to live a life that, not only are you going to be able to live in a cool house, and a house that you like, but you're not going to struggle for that payment every month. So I mean, little tips and tricks is just, you got to budget, you got to pull out. I say it all the time. My girlfriend makes fun of me when I'm on my spiel. You gotta put pencil to paper. You got to
Yep.
draw out your budget. You got to really see where your life is, where you can start cutting back on expenses. Be cognizant of what's on that credit card, subscriptions, all the money you're spending, and really try to put everything in life into a monthly basis with respect to what your expenses are and what you think you could take on. And, at one point, a year goes by quick. So if you could start that process and start, visualizing what life is going to look like when you have a mortgage a year down the line, it just gives people more confidence in getting themselves into a situation of home ownership, which, is one of the biggest financial decisions you make in your life. So just being cognizant of what's coming in, what's going out, is probably the best piece of advice that I always give clients when I start the initial consultation and start, figuring out what they can afford. Because, people go into this pre-approval process, and you'd be surprised by how much you can get it pre-approved for from a
Sure.
bank. But that doesn't necessarily, it's going to, mean the same thing for you or me, right? If I like to go on a lot more vacations versus a person that's a homebody, I might be able to take on I should take on a smaller payment than that person who, maybe they spending their money elsewhere to have a bigger payment. So just really being cognizant of what that monthly budget and your cash flow, your P&L, your profit and loss of what's coming in and what's going out is probably the biggest thing that I would just, hope people would really start to get a grasp on before they go into the mortgage process, or, in any aspect of life, really.
Sure. And I think with anything, that's difficult or something that's new to a lot of people, it's really just getting that clarity. Assessing that you kind of, all right, I don't really know too much about this. How can I learn more about it? It'd be a perfect opportunity to go to someone like you where they can kind of break it down, give you that clarity, give you that confidence and know what you're looking at, having that game plan to kind of go forward confidently and not always having to worry about it. So I think that's a big, tip there, and a big value that you do provide to a lot of people. And, all the people that I've sent your way over the past, couple of years here, they've said nothing but good things about you. And they said they learned a ton, and you really make it very easy for them to understand, which I think is, the best thing you can really do with something so complex as this. So good stuff with that, Dan.
Yeah, music to my ears, baby. Music to my ears. Keep sending them.
Yes, always, 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 always trying to support local, which is, big thing while we're doing this podcast and just bringing people on to talk about their businesses and really how they can help serve, people, surrounding areas, particularly Long Island and New York and, other areas as well. So,
Sure.
I guess the next thing here, any favorite stories or, a little anecdote of where, had a client of yours come to you with a particular problem or maybe an issue, and you kind of help them get through it?
Yeah, I have a ton, and I'm not going to go through every single one of them, but again, it's something that I genuinely just love doing, and love, sharing my insight with people, with respect to what they're trying to do in life. Now, literally last week, I got a guy. This guy's awesome. He comes in. He works for Google, right?
Yep.
Smart dude. Really cool guy. Really down to earth. His wife's a CPA. And he kind of came to me and he's like, "Listen, this is what I want to do. I'm trying to get this rate down as much as I can. I'm trying to mortgage off as soon as I possibly can. What can we do? Where are you at with this?" And yeah, I just started having a conversation with the guy and just kind of started picking his brain as to, why he wanted to do all these things he's telling me he wants to do. Um,
Sure.
so once I started kind of, jabbing him with questions of, does this really make sense? He starts to really go into it. And his whole plan is he wants to buy investment properties. He wants to build up a portfolio of real estate, which, once I kind of figured that out, it's something that I do too. I invest in real estate. Uh, we really completely 180'd everything that he was thinking,
Oh,
right?
wow.
Everything that he was thinking, we have done the complete opposite, and he's followed every word of my advice. The guy absolutely loves me. Now he's asking me if I do financial advising. He wants me to do his taxes, like all this stuff that now I'm going to become his quarterback going forward, which is absolutely what I love when people kind of just hand me the keys to their lives. And, it's insane how much I know about all my clients. I know more about them financially than they do. And it really becomes that relationship that I, end up having with most of my clients for a lot of years down the pipe. And, just by asking the right questions, which is exactly what I'm going to do, is play devil's advocate. I always tell people, listen, I'm going to give you 100 pieces of information, worst case scenario. If you end up doing exactly what you originally thought you were going to do, you're just more confident because, you disqualified all those other things, right? Sometimes you got to disqualify in life to qualify.
Sure.
But yeah, just a simple story where this guy came in, told me what he wanted to do, and I just asked the question, why? Why do you want to do that? Does this really make sense? And, now we're going to go through and, this guy's probably going to buy 5 houses in the future, and I'm going to be able to do a mortgage on most of them, hopefully all of them. And yeah, a little success story. And listen, he's taken my advice, which is exactly what I love when people do. Not saying that I'm the end all be all, but I have a good grasp on this stuff. I do it myself. I've bought a house. I've been through it, so it's
Yeah.
not me just saying stuff, right? I practice what I preach, and I've been there, and I know exactly how people have reacted when they're in those shoes. So it's a good situation, man. And I'm young, and I work with people primarily, my age. And again, I can speak a language and break it down to people, and 99 out of 100 times they understand it. And I rarely lose a client in any situation because of the way I'm able to break it down and explain it to people.
That's great. And I think, a big thing nowadays too, a lot of people don't have those connections or who to go to. And I think being that you're in the same kind of age bracket that we are, it's nice we can kind of go to you. You're a very personable guy. You're very good at answering the questions. And again, I think, these are tough questions a lot of times. You have to ask yourself, these tough questions. If you try to do it yourself, a lot of times maybe you might not get the things that you're looking for. And I think by using, your services or even just having consultation allows you to really dig into those questions, bring up things that would maybe change the direction of which way things are going, like you said in your example. And then again, just getting that game plan going so you can kind of set yourself up for the future and be confident in the direction that you're going. So all good stuff there.
Yeah.
So I guess anything else, Dan, anything you want to leave us with? How could people get in contact with you if maybe they're interested in, your services or even just having a conversation with you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can always hit me up on the book. Going to my website, evomtg.com, reaches there. All my business comes from word of mouth in this day and age. I'll be honest with you. It's a beautiful thing. I don't have to look too hard for my business.
Sure.
It just finds me. Everything's referral basis. Everything is word of mouth basis. Um, it's just a situation where you can ask around if they've known me personally, or if they've worked with me. Hopefully you'll get a good response about me as a person. And when it comes to this business stuff and the financial stuff, you can find me. Just look it up: Dan Costello, Daniel Costello, Danny Costello, or just straight up DC. I'm still battling with my name change in the professional world from DC out to this, trying to make it sound good on Danny, or Daniel Costello. But
A lot of
yeah,
options.
whatever way you need to get in touch with me, reach out to Kev, reach out to whoever. And listen, it's something that I can't stress enough. Finances it's a situation that people run the other way from. And if you want to break it out and draw it out in crayon and explain this stuff and really have your hand held through a mortgage process, and listen, I'll give a half an hour to anybody. It doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter if I'm going to do business with you or not. If you're a good person and you're willing to ask the right questions and maybe be challenged a little bit, on your finances, definitely give me a shout, and I'd love to work with you, and maybe we'll have a laugh along the way and drink a beer after it. Life is good.
There you go. Well, I appreciate it, Dan. A lot of valuable stuff here, a lot of good insights. So, obviously, this topic, mortgages and finances, can be, tricky for people. So, like I said, I definitely attest to, Danny's character. Very easy guy to talk to, very personable. So, if you ever have any questions, feel free to send him his way. Dan Costello, Evolution Mortgage. He's your guy. Anything financial, taxes, finance related. He's a very easy guy to get in touch with, and hopefully can help you out there. So once again, Dan, I thank you. Appreciate for coming on here. A lot of good stuff here, and I'm sure we'll talk soon.
Yeah, awesome, Kev. Appreciate it. You and Mike, keep up the good work. You guys are awesome people. Everyone out there, listen. You stick with people who do the right thing. You stick with people who, are just solid. And again, I can't stress it. We're going to do the right thing. Best of luck to you guys. We'll keep in touch, Kev. Thanks for everything. I love you, boys.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate the kind words. Take care.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. If you enjoyed the show, hit that subscribe button. Or if you'd like to learn more about marketing your business better and getting more customers, schedule a free 30-minute consultation with us by visiting primedigitalseo.com.